You know, my wife and my son and I were having I haven't told you this, but we were having a conversation about, well, how do we change the world? All right, let's figure this out. And my wife said, well, I know it sounds silly, but if we all just loved each other a little bit more, and my son and I agreed that she did sound silly, and my son, who's senior at university and has that fighting spirit, he said, no, we need to educate people. We need to go out, we need to educate people. That's the way to do it. And I said, well, I think we need to raise the consciousness of people. And then as we talked about it further, we realized that actually we were all saying the same thing. Those weren't three different answers. That in fact, if we did love each other a little bit more, that would raise our consciousness. Love brings an education with it. Right? When you're not seeing the world through the pre-existing judgments, when you're seeing it through the eyes of love, you see it clean. You don't see it better than it is. You don't see it worse than it is. You just see it as it is. And that opens something new up. If people are educated about how life works, how the mind works, what's really going on, not what's really going on here or there, but what's really going on here in the human system, it opens up new possibilities. If people are able to be at their best more of the time and know enough not to do damage when they're not at their best. If there's a quote at the beginning of my book from Sid Banks, who's sort of the guy who first articulated the principles that we're going to be talking about this evening, that if the only thing people learned was not to be afraid of their experience, that alone would change the world. We don't look clean because we're too scared to look. In my old life, I used to cure phobias for a living. And those of you who've seen my TED Talk, Why Aren't We Awesomer? I share some stories about that. And one of the things about curing a phobia, taking away a phobia, eliminating a phobia, is that people then had to learn how to deal with the thing they used to have the phobia of. Because if you have a phobia of snakes, you never need to learn which snakes are safe and which ones aren't. If you have a phobia of heights, you never need to learn how close to the edge you can safely get, because you're never going anywhere near that edge. If you have a phobia of whatever you have a phobia of, you never see it, because what you see in your head is so vivid that you literally just can't get any feedback about the world around you. Well, we live in a world where people have a phobia about their own experience. They're too scared to look at, I don't want to feel that. Or that feeling feels so overwhelming that they immediately put it out onto whatever it looks like coincides with its existence. You walked into the room just before I felt angry. It must be you, right? And we do that. We project it onto the world, and then we defend ourselves, protect ourselves against that world. Not seeing that before we projected that onto the world was just fine. And so one of the things that we want to do through the conversation this evening is take some of the fear out of the system, so that we can have a fresh look and we can see, well, where is the edge? Like, how close could we actually get to the edge safely? In a conversation, in our own thinking, in action. And when we start to do that, of course, a whole new range of opportunities and possibilities show up.